Good evening and welcome to Project Ready TV. I am your host, Angie Anderson-Moton, and tonight we are doing our Parent Lounge Part 2, where we're talking about teen pregnancy prevention. And as you may or may not know, May is nationally Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month. And so, because we have a program at the Everly of the Upstate, what better fit to have Charlene Jones, Director of Teen Pregnancy Prevention, to come and speak with us tonight about the topic at hand. So if you did not see last week's segment, make sure that you go back and watch that segment, catch up, and then enjoy the information that she will share with us tonight. And as always, it's always a reminder to you that our goal is to make sure all students are graduating on time and that you are prepared for college working life. If at any time you feel like our programs are beneficial to you and you would like to join any of our programs, make sure that you're reaching out to us. We are still working very much so. Although it's remotely, you can reach out to us and we will assist you in any capacity. So with that being said, let's hop right in. Charlene, glad to have you again tonight. Anything you want to share or say before we hop into the topic tonight?
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be with you again. I hope that you all had a safe and fun-filled Memorial Weekend. I did with my family. Even though social distancing is still the practice of the day, we were able to make connections through Zoom and wearing our face masks because it was also my son's birthday this weekend, so we were able to celebrate his birthday as well. So, last week we began the presentation of adolescent development, focusing on 2 of the 5 areas of development, that being physical and cognitive growth. Today we're going to conclude the presentation reviewing 3 additional areas of developmental focus and starting with emotional development. Healthy emotional development is a gradual increase in a person's ability to perceive, assess, and manage one's emotions. It is influenced by one's environment and driven by a person's physical and cognitive changes and growth. This is another area to learn and to practice new skills, discover unique qualities about ourselves, and continue to navigate changes towards optimum overall healthy development. There are 2 factors that influence how well a teen navigates emotional development, and they are self-management and hormones. For successful emotional management, a youth has to first learn to recognize and identify the emotions and feelings that they're having. This is a time to expand their emotional vocabulary so that they are better able to communicate their feelings. It's also a time of deeper understanding of emotions and how a person's body is going to react given various emotional states. It's a time for them to also learn how to react and choose how to react and respond in various situations. How these steps are experienced determines if the ultimate self-management is effective or not. However, it's important to remember that despite these changes, the prefrontal cortex, where reasoning, problem solving, planning, and thinking through consequences of one's actions is still not developed, which means adult guidance through reminders, conversations, internal planning are needed to help the child default to making better decisions. As a person continues to grow, so does the front lobe of the brain. A person can use reasoning and abstract thinking on their own to make appropriate decisions as this process happens. For our hormones, we know that hormones affect our moods. They can heighten our emotional responses and can trigger developmental changes in the body. Given all of that is occurring at one time, it is more challenging for our teens to make decisions that adults consider appropriate and best for them. As if all of this is not enough, they're also dealing with friendships, educational demands, finding times to engage in balanced extracurricular activities, hobbies, and family dynamics. Stress hormones are activated more quickly in the teen's brain in comparison to an adult's brain. What this means is that teens are more impulsive because of the fight, flight, freeze response center of the brain that gets triggered more quickly, and they act quicker than they are thinking. Positive stress, however, is a good stress because it can heighten our ability to be alert, such as when we're learning how to drive or presenting as sharp and focused for a job interview. Three additional factors of influence on the emotional development are self-esteem, which is how a person feels about and sees themselves, which can have an effect on a person's sense of self-worth. Also, identity formation, which is a process of becoming independent and achieving a sense of competence and capabilities. Also, a period of experimenting with various beliefs, values, types of friends, and ideas, etc., which requires balance and feedback for the best outcomes. And finally, stress. As we have spoken about, stress can be positive, negative, or traumatic. And how a person copes with these various stressors will impact their overall emotional development. So here again, what is it that an adult can do to help facilitate emotional development? One, let's value and celebrate every adolescent's unique identity and their accomplishments. Continue to strengthen the communication that you have with your adolescent. Assist them in building an emotional vocabulary that's bigger than I feel happy, sad, glad, and mad. Spend quality time together. Promote self-management skills. Nurture self-regulation skills. And pay attention to the warning signs that an adolescent may be presenting. Now, for social development. As children, our social circle usually includes our families and our classmates. But as we enter into adolescence, it grows and includes folks from school, church, our sports teams and clubs, and other activities. And because we're interacting with more people in different environments on a regular basis, it makes sense that our circle of friends is going to grow and expand also. This could encourage teens to try new things. Adolescents may begin to assume various roles, like trying out leadership roles and assuming more responsibility around the house. And as such, they begin to make decisions for themselves about what they will and will not engage in. This is in part due to the increased ability for them to empathize, and they decide whose position they're willing to align with, which starts them to sorting out the process. So when this is happening, they're starting to decide based on their own judgments and what they have been brought up to believe, who side they're going to pick. If there's a kid that's being bullied or picked on, are they going to be aligning themselves with the bullies, or will they be a positive bystander who's able to engage with the person that's being targeted and help them recognize that they're not alone in that situation and align themselves with that person? All of these changes are perfectly normal and they are necessary part of development, but it still requires the support of adults to help them make the very best decisions. Factors that affect social development include varying rates of physical development, their ever-evolving groups of friends, the different types of peer pressure that they are experiencing, and the various changes in how we interact with each other, from the vastly changes in our social, emotional, and technology development. So here again, what is it that a supportive adult can do? How about modeling examples of healthy relationships? Get to know your kids' friends and who they're dating. Display empathetic behaviors towards others, including your adult. Talk to them about their interests and encourage them to engage in activities that they will like. Teach them how to cope with peer pressures and the different stresses of life. And in addition to these things, discuss boundaries and your expectations in the relationships with their friends and their romantic partners. Acknowledge what it is that they're saying and how they're feeling, because oftentimes as adults, we can sometimes get caught up in our own day-to-day activities and not really recognize that kids are dealing with stressors and need someone to be able to talk to and to listen also. Set boundaries for what is safe online behaviors and practices. And most importantly, make sure they know the kinds of sensitive information that you would like for them to share with you when they're encountering different circumstances. This is also a time in an adolescent's life when there's changing in their values. Change in values is when adolescents begin to understand that not every question has a clear-cut answer. As they develop empathy, they begin to see why others make the choices that they have made and even better understand their own choices. Another change in value is because of a youth's ability to think abstractly. They can now sense how rules are related to justice and to public safety. But this also means that they start to test boundaries and they question why certain rules exist, such as curfews. This occurs because they're understanding the reasons behind rules. As youth get answers and responses from adults that make sense to them about rules of justice, they begin to identify and personalize them, which formulates their beliefs and their moral code. During moral and value development, teens explore spiritual beliefs. They question why their families believe what they do, and they begin to question how they should respond when faced with a moral dilemma, such as whether or not to return the money if they see someone drop some cash. All of these things changes are resulting because teens are learning to process information and to think about the world on a much deeper level, which is appropriate and should be encouraged as well as supported. This is the foundation of how many of them will interact with the world for the rest of their lives. So, what responses can we provide to support our youth? Listen without judgment. It's very important for our teens that they know that we will hear what they think and they feel, and without them having to worry about if we're going to see them differently because they've been brave enough to come to us. This is not the time to lecture, but instead to guide them in the processing of their own thoughts and feelings. Encourage and support youth in evaluating and analyzing their actions, the impacts, and potential outcomes. Support their exploration of questioning beliefs and perspectives. Talk openly and honestly about your values and beliefs and how you develop them. Share with them the process that you went through in becoming an adolescent and acquiring your own beliefs about things. This concludes the presentation on the explanation of adolescent growth and development. I hope that you were able to glean some pearls of wisdom from what has been shared with you, or reminded what it's like to grow up and all of the changes that our teens are going through. I hope you've also been able to gain some concrete pointers on what it is that you can do to help support our kids as they go through all of these developmental changes. And as a reminder, what are those 5 domains? They're physical, cognitive, emotional, social development, and then finally their morals and values. It's important that we nurture our adolescents. They need us. This is a critically important time to them when they're transitioning into becoming responsible adults. Wrap your arms around your kids, embrace the change, and enjoy the journey with them. Thank you.
Wow, that's so good. Especially during this time that our world is experiencing a global pandemic. Like, we have so much time now, and not to minimize any parent out there that may be challenged with helping with the educational components that all students must do. But definitely parents, families, students, we have this time now to kind of share and talk about things that, that's really important, because, everybody, I feel like, has had an opportunity to make their places really a safe place right now. Like, everybody's thinking about safety and all that. So what better time now to just incorporate some of those maybe hard discussions that we, as parents, think that it's kind of hard to get the message across. But right, as you have given us several different tools from last week and today, how we can kind of, help those conversations move along. And they don't have to be hard. Absolutely. All we have to do as the adult is to really celebrate the person.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think a thing that we've kind of gotten away from that would be a good opportunity for all families to revisit is the power of the family meal
Mm-hmm.
That is the perfect
That's
time to
good.
have everybody sit around the
Mm-hmm.
table together, talking about how their day has gone, how their week has gone. If there's at the end of the week, what plans, what does everybody have on their schedule for the upcoming
Yes.
week? And as you get into this routine of doing this, even if it's just once a week,
Mm-hmm.
you are starting to create that space where everybody can expect that this is the time that we're going to talk. So if
Right.
you have a teen who has a particular topic that they're wanting to bring up and trying to figure out when is a good time, they may get to the point where, you know what, we talk about stuff at dinner. This might be a good topic for me to bring up and get everybody's opinion about. And again, it's an open family discussion. So you're not having to single any one person out. If you've got younger kids at the table, they're able to learn also from what big brother or big sister is going through. They're also able to hear the explanation and the shared values of the caring adults that are sitting around that table. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a very powerful time to just spend together. And another thing that I don't think we really give enough credence to, research has shown that those who have been most successful, the Einsteins of the world, those that we know that have created a lot of the things that now are meeting our essential needs, came about from them having just the connection within the families and that power
Mm-hmm.
of sitting down and having that discussion at dinner time. And that's something because of the advances and how quickly we're going through all of the changes in our schedules today that we don't necessarily take the time to do. I know we're guilty of, I may come in the house and
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to unwind, and one child may be already finished with homework. So now he's ready to eat. So if dinner's
Mm-hmm.
ready, he may go and eat by himself while mom and dad and the older brother is still kind of doing their own things. And it's been interesting being here together that we are seeing more of each other, which is kind of interesting. What else is
Right.
there to do? Come out
Right.
of your rooms
That
and,
part.
and meet in that central location. So that part has been a real blessing.
I like that idea. And then I also like, if you're a parent that you really like technology and your student likes technology, do a Zoom room with family and friends. Maybe connect with another family that may have the same age students, and it's something that you guys would want to. Everybody's open to the fact that we're going to do a Zoom room. It's a safe place. You're
Right.
creating it,
Right.
and just bring up some of these topics. And it doesn't have to necessarily be about teen pregnancy prevention, but like you were
Correct.
saying, about anything. So
Right.
I think these are some good points and suggestions, Charlene, that we just gave our parents so that they can help carry out these conversations and move them along where they feel safe, and then safe enough where the students start talking to their friends and other families about what they're learning. So I
Right.
definitely um, think that those are some great tips that we just gave our viewing audience. Anything else about Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month, or just the topic itself that you want to share? I know we've had some social media postings today about teen pregnancy prevention. Would you like to talk a little bit more about those postings today?
Yeah, sure. Each week during the month of May, we were posting some positive comment, something about teen development. And if we keep in mind that we keep using the title teen pregnancy prevention, but really what we're talking about is healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And healthy relationships are required across all domains of life in order for us to be successful. So it's beyond just the romantic. We're talking about, how do brother and sisters interact with each other? How do parents and children get along? How does your child get along with their teacher and communicate in schools? How are we interfacing with our supervisors and our peers at work? So it's just important for us to remember that the earlier you start and maintain a routine of regular conversations with your child, when they're going through all these changes, the doors and the expectation and the groundwork has already been set for them to come to you at that time, because it'll just be like any other conversation that they're accustomed to having. I think sometimes it is the adults that make it more challenging, because we get concerned. Am I going to answer this right? Oh my gosh, are they going to ask me something that I'm not ready to talk about? If the
Mm-hmm.
child is old enough to have the question, they're old enough to have an answer. You just have to decide how involved and detailed of an answer that they need and require based on their age.
Mm-hmm.
So this past weekend, my 8-year-old, well, she'll be 8 soon, niece, asked her mom and dad how babies were made and why she has a relative that has a girlfriend. So this is a girl on girl relationship. And she says, if babies come from a man and a woman, how is my auntie going to have a baby?
Mm-hmm.
And so, her mom had to think really quickly, how do I answer that question?
Mm-hmm.
And she just simply says, although two ladies might be dating each other, it's still a mommy and a daddy that can make a baby. And so when they are ready, they may have to adopt or come up with some other ways if they're wanting to have a baby. And that's all an 8-year-old needed to know, but if a 16-year-old is asking you that question, then you're going to need to give them a little bit more because they're definitely at a different threshold in their developmental process.
Right. That's good information. And as always, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns about anything that we've talked about in the last 2 weeks, you can definitely reach Charlene at cjones@urbanlyupstate.org. She is open for any questions to help out with any of these that situations that you may have or just questions that you may have. And then you can also still call us at the office. Our number there is 864-244-3862. And we may not get to the phone immediately, but there will be someone to redirect all phone calls to the necessary person that you need to speak with. And most of all, please, don't forget to, are the classes on Eventbrite? They can go to Eventbrite. So most of all of our, the way that we do signups is you can go on Eventbrite and you can find the Love Note series there. If you have any youth group, church group, whatever group that may be interested in learning about these healthy relationships, you can go sign your group up there, or again, call or email Charlene. Any last thoughts, Charlene, about this topic that we're talking about, healthy relationships?
I did want to make sure I gave credit to the Center of Adolescence Health at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. That was the primary resource that I used, but there are a lot of scholarly articles out there that parents can connect with. There are lots of online resources and that can help guide and facilitate these discussions. And I would just encourage everyone to do one unique thing with their child. Is it to have a discussion about a hobby or interest and find out something about the kid that you hadn't known or that could be really surprising to you. And then 2, find a way to connect and actually do something with them. Play cards, teach them a card game, get on that game system with them so that they understand that you value their perspective and what it is that they're interested in. And it's not always just come and do what the adult wants to do, but what is it that you would like to engage in and how can we interact? And have fun with your child.
That's good. And if you do any of those things that Charlene just mentioned, please drop your comment, drop whatever activity you did with your student, with your family below so that we can share not only with the Urban League, but every parent that's needing resources, that's needing a community. It is true. It takes a village. So we want to make sure that we're your village and that we're helping you with great solutions to any challenge that you may have. So we appreciate you as always. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and share this video. And until next time, we will see you. Remember to follow us at Urbanly 864. I am your host, Angie Anderson-Moton, and I have enjoyed my time with you. Good night.